We're back, we're back, we're back. We're back, we're back, we're back. Period. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. We're back again with yet another movie review. I think I'm actually getting pretty good at these. I kind of, feel like I'm a little pro now. If you guys have seen from the title below, you already know what's up. You already know what's going on. You already know what's gonna happen, what's gonna go down, all that good stuff. But if you do not know, you did not read, you didn't bother to, you just clicked on the video, let me tell you, let me remind you, let me inform you what it is that we're about to do. This time around, obviously, it's a movie review video. I enjoy doing these a lot. It helps me get closer to my dream, I guess, in a way. It helps. We are dun 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 dun. I need to get like a background music where the there's somebody outside my room. Anyways, this time around we are reviewing Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Let me say that again. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. From the title, I think we kind of all know where this is going, but if we don't know, let me tell you where we're going. This movie is actually a novel. It was written by Mr. Alvin Schwartz. It was written in the, I don't even know where this was written. And now, years later, it's been turned to a movie. The director was Mr. Andre Ovredal, Ovredal. Mr. Andre, if you can tell me how to pronounce your name, I would highly appreciate it. I did not mean to offend you. You have a complicated last name. I understand. I do too. It's okay. This movie was written by Mr. Dan and Kevin Hageman. Adapted. It was actually written or co-written, I guess you could say, with Mr. Guillermo del Toro. And you guys should know who Mr. Guillermo del Toro is. Or like we say in Spanish, Guillermo del Toro. If you don't know him, look him up, search him. Genius creator, amazing. He was part of this movie as well and one of the writers of the movie among other people. The movie stars Zoe Margaret Coletti, Gabriel Rush, Ostis Abraham, Natalie Ganzern, sis, I'm so sorry, Michael Garza, among other people. You guys all have kind of complicated names for me, and I have an accent, so sorry, because I have to think, what I'm gonna say. There's other stars of the movie in theaters right now. That's that on that. Before we start, because, a sis loves to make this statement. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. Now, let's get to the official review. Before we start, summary. This movie, for those of you who've read the books, before I start, if you guys don't want to watch the video, if you're not interested, if you don't care, if you don't, you don't like it, you're not for it, you're not with it, you're not interested, I'm not interested enough for you, I'm not funny enough, or whatever the third, click out. You don't have to watch it, get out. If you guys enjoy the videos, if you guys want to continue to watch, if you guys want to have a conversation with me about this movie, then for sure continue to watch on. So let's get this started. So if you guys have already read the book, you guys already know what the movie and the books are about. If you guys have never seen the movie, or if you guys have never read the books, I personally have never read the books, but have seen the movie now, so I kind of know a little bit about it. This is kind of what happened. This story revolves around a group of young teenagers who live kind of like in a small town. And one of the girls, which is like the main girl, her name is Stella. She lives with her father. Her mom left when she was a kid. And she kind of has always grown up with that, behind her. Because I imagine it must not be easy to have a parent like leave you. She has two guy best friends. They're kind of like all geeky and nerdy, but they're cute and sweet. And it's about to be Halloween. Actually, no, Halloween night. So I guess there's this kid around their town that bullies them. You know, there's always a bully. So on Halloween night, the one of the kids is actually, which I don't know if it's Tommy or Aggie. I think it might be Aggie. He's trying to get, no, is it Aggie or Tommy? One of those two. They're trying to get revenge for being bullied of, you know, so many years on Halloween night, because I guess this guy like comes and takes their candy after like they took trick-or-treater. They kind of like throw eggs at him, and they throw poop at him instead of candy. Like they put poop in the bag, so when he snatches the bag from them, he opens it, it was actual poop. Funny thing is, he's dating one of the boys' sister, which I think is Tommy's sister. The guy gets angry, so they start running away. He's chasing them. They go into this like movie drive-in, and they get into this young boy's car, who is Mr. Ramon later on, and he kind of like helps them a little bit. The guy is not able to do anything because they're in the car, and Ramon, like, you know, he stands his ground and defends them, and then the people from the movie, like the attendants, kick him out. So he's like, oh, this is not over, revenge. So he leaves, whatever. Ramon meets, you know, Stella and Tommy and Aggie, and he's like, oh, why are you guys in my car, this and that, blah blah blah. But then, you know, he understands why they did it, and they kind of get to talking. Him and Stella kind of have an attraction towards each other. So she's like, oh, have you ever like seen a haunted house? And he's like, no. So I guess there was this legend about a haunted house in their town that they took Ramon to. Long story short, to summarize that, they get into the house. They see some things that they probably were not supposed to. They find a secret hiding room. They steal a book from there, and that book entitles like everything. Like every time they open the book starts writing on its own, and it basically describes how they're gonna like die or disappear, or what's gonna happen to them. Once they realize that that's what's happening, they try to return the book. That doesn't work out. So then they try to kind of think ahead of the book, but it doesn't happen. So then they realize the motive behind the spirit, basically, who write in the book, and then they kind of go on this journey to like free the spirit, so the spirit doesn't do that anymore. And then once that's over, then obviously dealing with the repercussions and the consequences, and trying to make a future out of that. That's kind of the whole summary. So the summary is, these kids, they sneak into a haunted house, they take out a book. The book basically starts to like kill them or disappear them, and then it's them fighting against the book to try to like stop it. Now let's go into the review. I didn't really know a lot about this movie before I went to see it, so I wasn't really expecting anything. I saw the previews, so that was my only kind of preconceived idea of what the movie might be about. I honestly, to be real with you guys, I saw the Scarecrow. I don't know if you guys have seen the Scarecrow in the previews, and I was like, well, I want to see this. This looks like, oh yes. So that's the reason why I kind of like wanted to watch the movie. And then like when I watched it, I was like, oh, okay, this is pretty cool. Like I like this. I honestly really did enjoy the movie from beginning to end. There was never a dull moment. Everything was like consistent, one after the other. It was not your typical scary movie, because it is more for like young kids, young adults, but it's still scary enough where even like an adult like myself, you can get scared, you can get startled, or you can be like, oh, you know, even though like the scenes where anything bad really happens, it's not even that bad. It's not like gory, it's not bloody, it's not negative, it's not like anything like that. I mean, it's pretty like scary and dramatic, but it's not gory. And like I said, again, because of the whole kids being, you know, the main audience, not kids, but like young adults, teenagers being the main audience of these books, and then now the movies, it's not like your typical, let's say, Annabelle or Conjuring, or, you know, these things like that where like it's scary. This is more like, oh, it's like a mystery and there's like scary moments, but it's nothing like horrible, at least in my opinion, I would say. The acting was really good. There were some actors that I recognized and a lot of actors that I didn't, that I guess are just starting off. A pretty good performance. Mr. Andre, pretty good director because he kept everybody. I loved the scenery, like the haunted house, the town, like the fields, or these are like the cornfield, Mayfields, or whatever they're called. Everything was so beautiful. It really felt like one of those old school, like, it felt, even though it's a modern day shot film, it felt like an old school movie. Like, you felt like you were watching a movie that really did take place in the 70s. I think it was like 1968 was the actual year that it took place. I really enjoy that. I love the scenery and the costumes. Like, you really felt that vibe that you were back in those times. Like, I enjoy that. They did really good with that. The actors did pretty good. Like I said, the movie was consistent from beginning to end. Like, the story, everything wrapped round one and the other. And they did end the movie, even though it ended kind of like in a resolution, it still left it open because I believe there's a second part. Well, there's 3 books. So obviously there's like 2 more movies that probably will come out to follow that one. Pretty good. I liked it. Key points, key scenes. So I guess the haunted house it's haunted because the people that used to live there, they had a daughter who they had hidden away because she had, I guess, some type of disease, or this, what is that word called? Disfigure in her body or face or whatever. It was some type of albinism, I guess. And back in the time, that was like a bad thing. So they kept her hidden on, like, basically under the house, locked away the whole day. They would like do horrible things to her. So she lived a pretty traumatized life. So when she did die, her spirit, I guess, somehow stay there. And she would like tell stories through the wall. So the people who would go to the haunted house would ask her to tell them a story. And the story would actually be like their demise, how they would die, or the horrible things that would happen to them. She had this book where she would write these stories, and she would write them in blood. So that's the book that Stella took from the mansion. And I think one of the key points that I really liked was the villain, in a way, was also a victim. And you got to see her, like, when the kids discover, oh, this is what really happened to her, this is all the things that they did to her, you realize that she never killed those kids. She never did. People thought that she was killing people when they would go to the house and stuff like that, and she never actually did. It was her family, because her family had contaminated the water. They had like a windmill or something where the thing runs and makes water and then distributes water throughout. That's what her family was in charge of in the town back in the day. So they basically poisoned the water, and they poisoned a lot of people, and they killed a lot of people. They did a lot of bad things, but they blamed it on her. So that's why the legend kind of like, it was like, oh, she was the bad spirit, she was the evil person. So the spirit itself felt constricted. The spirit itself felt like they were bad, like they were negative, like they caused all this pain and all this hurt, and that's why they continued to do it. So Stella, when she finally realized that, she went back to the house and she kind of like freed the spirit. She was like, listen, I hear you, I see you, I know that you're innocent, I know that you were a victim, and I will write your story. And she started writing the story, and that's when the spirit like freed herself and, like, let them go. Like, she stopped basically like terrorizing them. The guy that was bullying them, he turned into a scarecrow himself. He was a scarecrow. So for those of you who've seen the review, the previews and whatever, the third, the scarecrow was actually part of that guy's house because he lived in a farm, and he would always kick it, throw bats at it, or like glass at it, and just be horrible, mean to it. I mean, mind you, it's a scarecrow, so it's like full of like, what is it, like fabric or whatever, or like, what is that thing? Hay is full of hay. And so, but still pretty mean dude. Like, he was a pretty mean kid. And on that night, the scarecrow turned human, or whatever it turned into, and took its revenge. And you think it's gonna be gory, but it's really not. He kind of like, he scared him, and then he like stabbed him with that thing that they use in the farm with the 3 picks, and he became a scarecrow. He didn't bleed or anything like that. Like, he literally stabbed them, boom, and then he started turning into a scarecrow, and then he became the scarecrow. one of the friends. Basically, like, your worst nightmare comes to life, and then you have to either face your fear or your fear gets the better of you. And it kind of got the better of all of them except Stella. Stella was the one that kind of like, oh, and Ramon and Stella made it all the way to the end. They kind of had their little love moment, romance, whatever, and she protected him, he protected her, and that's kind of how they made it throughout the whole movie. Both of her best friends, Tommy and Aggie, got taken. But that's the thing, like, these people were not murdered, they were like taken, so you don't really know where they were taken to or like what happened. You just know that at the end of the story, she's like, oh, you know, I know that they're out there somewhere and I'm gonna find them. And she just, like, you know, it's her and Ramon kind of like driving away or like whatever they were doing. So I'm guessing that's where the second movie is gonna fall into, with them now looking for their friends and everybody that went missing. The sister was one of the people that got terrorized in the book too, because she, when the first time around, Aggie, Tommy, and Stella went to the haunted house, the guy followed them, the bully, and locked them in that room. And so their sister was like, no, let them out, because even though she was dating the football guy, you know, Tommy was her brother. So she's like, no, get him out. And he was like, okay. He pushed her inside too. So she got caught up in the circle too. But she went mad. Like, they took her to a madhouse. But at the end, when Stella was able to free everything, she took her out like she was normal, like she was back to herself. So now she's also gonna, I guess she's gonna help Stella look for her brother. I really like the movie. There's not a lot to say about it because I will spoil it. I mean, I already spoiled a lot, but I really want, because this movie is still like, it's what, the first week, it's still out there, and I'm trying to edit this as fast as I can so I can have it up for you guys. I really do want you guys to go watch it and tell me what you think about it. The story was very good. I mean, if you have a book behind it, it's really hard for you to mess up a movie unless you're just really bad at what you do. I believe that they had a great book to go for. They had Guillermo del Toro write this along with Mr. Dan and Kevin, and they did amazing. They did phenomenal. The actors were pretty well trained. The story, like I said, I love the scenery. I love that everything looks so authentic. I'm gonna say this is, you know what, I'm not gonna give it a full 10 just because, actually no, should I give it a 10? Was it a 10 out of 10? You know what, guys? I think so. No, you know what? I'm gonna give it a 9. I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. And the only reason why I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10 is because this is a movie based on a book. And because I have not read the book, I cannot judge or compare, contrast how good it was compared to the book. So I'm gonna give it a 9 because I'm gonna leave that area of mystery open right there. If you guys have read the books, please tell me, you that have all the knowledge, was it as good as the book? Was it as not? Was it what you expected? Was it not? Like, tell me the pros, the cons, what you thought, what you like, what you didn't like. As always, I do enjoy making these videos for you guys. As always, please let me know what you guys thought of the videos. Do not forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys want to see more of, what you guys want to see less of. I'll be back again to let you guys know. As always, thank you so much for watching. It brings so much joy to my heart to do this for you guys and that you guys see it. And see you guys on the next one. Peace, love, and everything in between. Bye.